Don't be a boob. For more videos like this one, please subscribe to this channel.
Wind blowing around, it feels like it is 8 degrees this morning. You can really feel that on your face, and after a while it's hard to talk, right?
Oh my gosh, Dave, 8 degrees. I know we always talk about these snowstorms, of course, known for their snow, but we can't forget the cold temperatures that some whipping around, and that's going to be the case in parts of Massachusetts as well as Maine as our low continues to hug the coastline and then eventually move out to sea. Right now, here's a look at those wind gusts, around 32 miles per hour in Providence. Boston, we've been around 24, 25 mile per hour winds, had some gusts earlier of around 40 miles per hour. And then, of course, as we get around Cape Cod and then Nantucket, we have those winds upwards of 25 miles per hour, gusting at times. So again, you factor in the teens, the 20s, that's the air temperature outside, and then you get these winds and it's feeling like single digits. And then, of course, areas around New Hampshire and Maine may be a little calmer right now, but you'll see some flakes flying later today, as well as those winds starting to whip up. So as we track this low, it's been hugging the coastline, moving up to the northeast. It will eventually move out to sea, and so, of course, the winds will start to relax. But the other factor with the winds, not just the wind chill and how cold it is outside, is the fact that those onshore winds really start to push a lot of that water up against the coastline. So we see some beach erosion as well as some higher sea levels across those spots that can cause some flooding in those coastal areas. So, of course, we do have coastal flood warnings and advisories. Earlier, this was affecting areas around Long Island, down through New Jersey, Atlantic City, also around Delaware, the Delmarva area. Now, as we get those onshore winds, it's going to be more around the Boston area, getting up into Cape Cod. So, again, as this low continues to move, the winds start to switch direction. And so some areas, you'll see those offshore flow of winds. So we'll see some of that flooding starting to come to an end. And then other areas up to the north will be dealing with this problem. Well, now, speaking of Connecticut, I do want to throw it back out to Dave, who's been there. Thanks for being with us here on Weather Center Live. I'm meteorologist Colleen Coyle.
And I'm meteorologist Ray Stajic. We've got a developing Christmas storm that'll bring a mixed bag.
Ray, you know what's incredible there for the Pacific Northwest? Seattle saw snow yesterday, record rainfall, and a record high temperature before all that nasty weather rolled in the 50s. That was their record high. Now, that same system, as you just mentioned, is now moving across the central part of the country and then going to be moving across the East Coast. This is our Christmas week storm. First off, I want to start out in the Midwest, also up into the northern plains, where we do have winter storm watches starting this evening through tomorrow evening. Now, this is for places of North Dakota, right around Fargo, down through St. Cloud, Duluth included in this as we get into Minnesota, and then getting across the Great Lakes. You know, some of these areas are going to borderline on blizzard conditions, not only with the cold, but it's the wind in these spots that are going to be around 40 to 50 miles an hour, along with the snowfall that's in store. Here's what's going on. We have these disturbances today that are merging together right there in the center of the country. We're going to have a big dip in the jet stream, and as that continues to dive down to the south, it's going to be taking all that Arctic air with it and creating quite the mess, not just for the Midwest, but then as we transition into the latter part of this week, it's going to be triggering a pretty wet Christmas for the East Coast as we have a lot of moisture drawing up northward, but it's those southerly winds. So a lot of it's not going to be snow. It's just going to be a very wet Christmas, as we're going to see widespread footprint of 1 to 2 inches of rain there, all the way up from the mid-Atlantic through the New England spots. But again, that cold air will be marching in. So on the tail end of this, some of that rain could start to roll into snow. So first off, the snowfall forecast as we head back out across the northern plains, anywhere from 1 to 3 inches around Bismarck and Fargo. Minneapolis, maybe about 3 to 5 inches of snow. There's a look at your holiday week storm as we head through the rest of your Tuesday into early Wednesday. This is when things start to crank up with the snow and the rain. First off, rain rolling through Green Bay, then you may have a break for the end of Wednesday, and then you potentially could see some snow there in parts of Wisconsin, getting up around the Great Lakes, and then this moves into the Northeast. So a lot to be talking about, not just the snow, but Ray, it's also the cold and the wind that's really going to be topping headlines.